Welcome to our Camp Countdown, presented by Connors Ferris and Ticketmaster, where we profile some of the most pressing questions for your 2025 Buffalo Bills. He's Bills Wall of Famer Steve Tasker. I'm Bills play-by-play man Chris Brown. And on the docket for this edition is which Bills player is most likely to break out in 2025. Steve, I think there are a handful of worthy players to mention here, but who would top your list to really take a step forward and make greater contributions than we witnessed from them last season, or if they're a newcomer, what they could do for the Bills in 2025?
My pick for this is going to be Keon Coleman. I know it's an easy track. I always look to the youth in this, somebody who's still has a high end, still got fresh legs, still got stuff going on that they're exploring, and still has, I think, something to find out about the game at the pro level. You're not going to get a 7-year guy on this list, right? This has got to be a guy that's coming in. And Keon Coleman, I think, with his physical abilities and work ethic and the environment that he's in, and I loved what I was seeing from him just before he got his wrist hurt last year. I really felt like he might have been one of those guys to make a big splash last year, and it was derailed.
The Seattle game, right?
Yeah, so I'm thinking, and we saw him too. We saw him go up and grab it in the back of the end zone when Josh was actually throwing it at somebody else. So he can go, and I think really the things that he needed to work on, like you saw last year, his route running and that kind of stuff, those are all learnable. You can't learn to be big. You can't learn to be you can get faster, but man, he's got some physical tools and a work ethic, and the nuances of his game are learnable things that I think are going to come out this year, and I think this environment and this building is really going to bring it out.
For me, it's Dalton Kincaid, a guy that had to battle through injury last year, but there were signs of his game that were encouraging even in year two, where his production dropped off considerably from what it was as a rookie when he had 73 receptions and set a team record at the tight end position for single-season receptions. He made more plays down the field last year, even with the reduced number of receptions and receiving yards, than he had as a rookie. And so I blame injuries for curtailing his production more than anything else. And so I think here in year three, where we have seen a boatload of Bills players under this regime truly excel and explode onto the scene, whether it's Dawson Knox, Taron Johnson, Spencer Brown, Khalil Shakir, Terrell Bernard, a lot of these players in their second and third year just completely explode as a contributor for this team. I expect Kincaid to do that. Now, we've mentioned Coleman, we've mentioned Kincaid. For Coleman, Steve, what does that breakout look like for you in terms of production in the passing game come season's end?
I'll say this. It's not that high a bar. In an offense like this that spreads it out so much, you're not going to have a guy that gets 1,700 yards pass reception.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're not going to have one of those monster years like a wide receiver one would have. But in this offense as well, you'll see guys like Khalil Shakir, Dawson Knox at times last year and in the years past, and, of course, Steph Diggs when he was here. Even though they may want to spread it around, I know how quarterbacks think, and I know how offensive coordinators think. Yeah. When you get into a tight spot and you got a guy can get open and is going to catch it and has a chance to go, you're going to keep feeding him the ball. Guys become wide receiver one in this league because they earn it. I'm not saying Keon Coleman's going to end the season getting 60% of all the targets on the offense. But if he has I'll say this, if he has a season with 70-something, like Dalton Kincaid had in his rookie season, mid-70s catches, handful of touchdowns, maybe more than that, between 5 and 10 touchdowns, and somewhere over 750 yards receptions, it's hard to be a 1,000-yard receiver in this offense. But if he gets above 750 or maybe 800 yards passing, I think that's a breakout, and he'll be a constant part of the offense.
We do have to remember, Khalil Shakir was the leading receiver in this offense in terms of receptions. He had 61 last year. They do spread the wealth. So the leading receiver might be a 60, 65-catch guy.
If one of these guys does end up with 80 catches, it's because
they're killing it.
They're killing it. Yeah. He's like, everybody's going to throw him. We'll be telling him, throw him the ball. Throw him the ball.
What about a defense? What about the defensive side of the ball, Steve? Does anyone come to mind there as a breakout
candidate
for you?
The obvious choice, and I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit, Maxwell Harrison. The job is there to be taken. You and I have seen him in the OTAs and in his workouts and all of that stuff and his physical attributes. The guy has elite physical talents at that position. He has a lot to learn, no question, and he's got to learn the system. He's got to get on the field. He's got to earn his way onto the field. He's got a good room of veteran and young players around him to get mentored by. And I think there's no question. I anticipate a slow start for him. Meaning he may not be the day one starter. But I think at the end of the season, he's going to be on a crescendo that is going to spell huge things for him, and he'll be on all the postseason lists. He's going to be on all this because of the crescendo of how this season's going to go. He is a guy that even if he is day one starter, then he's ahead of my schedule. But even if he is not ahead of my schedule, if he's got mine, the first month of the season may be a little bit of a slow start, but I think this guy is going to be somebody Bills fans are going to grow to be very familiar with.
Yeah, for me, it's Cole Bishop, the guy who spent the entire winter here with Taylor Rapp, trying to get accustomed to one another, on-field chemistry stuff, talking through ball and game and coverage and whatnot, and he's also hit the weights pretty hard. We all forget this guy missed most of training camp as a rookie last year and still made 4 starts last season, due mainly to injury. And yes, there were some mistakes on the field, but I think that time on the field is going to serve him well this year, and I think he's really going to challenge DeMar Hamlin for the starting job. I could see him being a breakout candidate on the back end for the Bills. In the time that we have left, I don't know if I would call a breakout season an 8-sack season, but that's what Greg Rousseau had, who also led this team in quarterback hits, tackles for loss, and forced fumbles. If he reaches double-digit sack territory and his first Pro Bowl, I think that would qualify as a breakout season on a more national scale. What are your thoughts on that possibility?
Certainly it could happen. If you spin everything on this roster positive, Greg Rousseau, I mean, there's a potential for him to take a step back because a guy like Joey Bosa stays healthy. Because, Deion Walker comes in and kills it as a rookie. Because, Jackson comes in and comes
and surprises.
There are so many other possibilities on this defensive line because of the quality of guys they brought in. Because if Joey Bosa does stay healthy, he's on the field more than any other defense line. He's going to rotate in, and they'll use him like that, but he's going to be on the field a lot. And, Greg Rousseau, 10-sack season would be a breakout season. No question. It'll be the first time he's reached double digits. It'll be the first time, and I can't remember the last guy that did it, unless it was – no, I can't remember the last guy that did it. It hadn't been that long ago.
No.
But it's just not something that happens with this group. They have not had a dynamic pass rusher in 6 years, at least. And Greg Rousseau, people have been waiting on him, and they've been, wondering if Von Miller's going to be the catalyst that unleashes him. If all of this other stuff that happens. If Landon Jackson comes in, maybe he could help. But I think the dynamic of this group, I don't know that you get into your fourth. I'm just not as high on that possibility with Rousseau getting double digits as a lot of people are because we're so deep into his career.
I'm willing to go there only because I think if Bosa does stay healthy, that's the best thing for Greg Rousseau because all the attention's over there. I'm getting one-on-one matchups over here. I'm winning more, and I'm getting more sacks. I think he could be a direct beneficiary of Bosa being on the field. And so I'll stay bullish on him, and I say he gets 10 to 12 this year. Knowing Steve picked Keon Coleman as his breakout player, and he's entering his second NFL season. For reference, the last Bills player to truly explode in year 2 on offense was James Cook, who put up his first 1,000-yard rushing season and had over 1,500 yards from scrimmage and his first Pro Bowl. I picked Dalton Kincaid. He's entering year 3. Last Bills player to explode in year 3, just last year. Khalil Shakir almost doubled his receiving output, 76 receptions. He had more than I thought he did.
Right.
For more than 800 yards and 4 touchdowns and was 5th in the league in catch rate at 76%. That's all we got for this edition. Stay close to BuffaloBills.com and One Bills Live, where we'll have you prepared for Bills training camp at St. John Fisher come late July. For Steve Tasker, I'm Chris Brown.